Hello and welcome to Banking Frontiers Live. This is our interesting series on master marketeers. With me today is Mr. Wadhwan, who is the Chief Marketing Officer and the Chief Customer Officer of Future Generali Insurance Life. Mr. Rakesh, welcome to Banking Frontiers.
Thank you so much, Babu, and very good afternoon to all our listeners today.
Wonderful. Welcome, Rakesh. How has your experience been? How have you managed this transition? And with this, how have you tried to maintain the growth that you have brought into your business today? What did you do differently then?
It has disrupted. I mean, initially when the pandemic had struck us, the most important thing for us was business continuity. So how do we ensure that the operations continue amidst those very hard lockdowns that we had to go through? So I think a lot of that was going on in our minds to stabilize the operation. Thankfully, for our company, we had made significant investments in the back-end technology and digital infrastructure. So we were able to reboot pretty fast, is what I would say. We could resume our operations in a matter of a week with people safely at their homes, provided them the infrastructure and access to everything that was important for them to conduct their business. So that sort of got us up to speed pretty fast, Babu, is what I would say. And I think this has been the case for the industries, as I understand, and we've seen this whole confusion that was caused due to lockdown in the initial couple of months, slowly sort of settling in as we resumed our operations. Again, all of it was virtual, and we see the growth sort of coming back for our business and the industry as well. So, thanks to the investment that we made in digital infrastructure, the agility that people showed in our operations, front end and the back end team, the support that we got internally from the entire organization to ensure that business gets back on track is really what helped us sort of get things together pretty fast.
So, what are the opportunities that you see in midst of all this crisis that you have faced in the insurance sector?
Put something together very fast where we could conduct the business. So the front end business should not get disrupted. So I think in a matter of about 15 to 20 days, we put together an infrastructure or ecosystem which helped our sales teams reach out to customer all virtually. So right from the time of prospecting of an agent to prospecting of a customer and then doing the entire process of solicitation, application filling and verification of the customers, including the payment, everything was done digitally. So we had all these tools, but we wanted to bring it under one infrastructure. And that's something that we couldn't have done. Otherwise, if this crisis was not there, possibly we would have sort of tried to optimize it over a period of time. But this pandemic added as an accelerator to me. That was a big opportunity for us to sort of drive adoption. We got everybody's attention. I think one of the big things is to, in times like these, is to manage adoption and the change management. People were not used to digital way of selling. So training them virtually was a big thing also, which is something that we've been wanting to do. It sort of goes on at a certain pace, but thanks to this disruption, everything was fast tracked. It's a big opportunity for marketeers to sort of to communicate to the customers and their audience the purpose of the brand. These are not the time really that you can only focus on selling, right? You've got to be out there with your customers. You've got to be out there with your community. You've got to enable everybody get back on their feet. And that's where brands step in, right? So we're not only about communicating what we sell, but the purpose of why we exist is very important. And this pandemic has allowed us a big opportunity to demonstrate that. In our example, for example, we came up with Master Speak as series for our customers to really reach out to the audience and give them a perspective about how to deal with this pandemic, what lies in future, because there were so many anxieties the customers were dealing with. The other opportunity is to recognize the customer themselves, right? So get close to the customer at this point in time. This is really not the time where we can have an impersonal conversation with the customer. So you have to really show empathy and care to customer, and that's what builds connections with the customers. You don't get these opportunities to do that, right? It's distress is when you can actually take or you can go a few extra miles and communicate to the customer. So we reached out to 10,000 customers. Our People called our sales teams and our backend teams called 10,000 customers, just informing them that we are there to help them, support them, tell them that the premiums can be paid with, because regulator came up with some amnesty to delay the premiums if they are in difficulty. So we had to inform them. We had to inform them the cover that they had in the policy and so on and so forth. So that was a brilliant sort of a gesture which customers really deeply recognized. Third opportunity is in terms of digitization. So in good times, you don't take hard decisions, right? And these are the times which prompt you to take some hard decisions, look at your structures, question the processes, figure out what is it that is not adding value. In good times, you feel, okay, we can look at it some other day. But these are the times that allow you that opportunity to challenge the status quo. So really, look at what is it that is not adding value to the business or not adding value to the customer, and go after that and make sure that you, uh, as I call it, to kill it and build something which will add value.
Which channels help you the most? And if you can also talk as a CMO, what kind of technologies help you to aid this faster, better, and more empathy oriented communication to your customers and to your people?
See, I think Babu, one thing is important to understand. All channels of communication are important, and the most important channels of communication are the ones that customer prefer the most. And
Absolutely.
customers pretty much today, as you and I both are customers, right, and we experience products and services all the time. Today, customers don't want to be bound by company telling them this is where you can find me. It doesn't work like that. So this whole concept of giving an omni experience to customer, giving a seamless experience which travels across all channels is extremely important, because look at it, customers are used to that. Everything is on their mobile. Now look at it from again from a customer's point of view, right? A customer would have started a journey on the website, inquiring about a product. Somewhere in the middle, she would have said, okay, I will pick it up later. 2 days later, it struck the customer. Customer would pick up the mobile phone and say, okay, let me just start from there. Now, if you were not seamlessly present on mobile and on the PC, then you would lose the customer's interest. In the journey, customer might say, okay, I have this question, but I don't have the time to talk. So I just want to write my question. So are you available on a WhatsApp? Or do you have a chatbot enabled where customer can just put in a query and somebody can just pick it up there and solve for customers? That's how the customer's journey is, yeah, right? So therefore, for us, the way I look at it, in the way we've been trying to build our ecosystem, is to make it completely seamless and absolutely omni experience for our customers. So we are able to pick up a conversation from where the customer last left, rather than sort of telling the customer to, okay, you want to have a conversation, let's go back to a particular channel. Technologies that help you are, I think technology, Babu, my view on technology is a little different. I think technology is increasingly become commodity. Thanks to the development, it's becoming extremely accessible and affordable. So the big thing does not lie in the kind of technology that you use. The big thing is about how you use the technology, how you enable the technology to give customer a differentiated experience. And that's where the aspect of empathy and understanding the customer better comes in. So if we know what the customer wants, where the customer wants, the context the customer operates in, you can activate technology to help you with that. So be it AI, be it your all the machine learning technologies, or be it the entire cloud setup that we are looking at today. All the APIs, all that we talk about, all of that are those are enabler to delivering customer experience.
Do you also integrate this AI across these channels together so that the same AI driven approach that he gets on the web, he gets on the mobile or on the WhatsApp or onto the branch or onto any other thing? Have you looked at any such possibilities that is happening?
Yes, so I think AI is a very big field, Babu, is what I would say, right? And what we're experiencing, at least in our industry, is just it's just a tipping point of it, right? There's a lot to be uncovered through AI, and as we progress, as the data keeps and technologies to harness the data improves, so you will see the benefits of AI coming in. So in terms of coming to your question of offering customers seamless experience, it can be done without AI as well, right? These are all intuitive technologies, intuitive processes that one can build in. Where we use, and AI has a massive use in terms of personalization at scale. I think that's where your question is. So that is something, because you're dealing with large number of customers, massive amount of transactions and data to be processed. That's where the power of AI can be harnessed, and that's where we use AI. And also, not only in terms of just personalization, but risk management is an important area for us. Underwriting is an important area for us, because we want to try to expedite or try to make this entire journey that the customer has fully automated with all the intelligence that we can build in, thanks to the experience that we've got and the data that we've got to support us in those decision making. So we look at AI not only in terms of reaching out to giving a personalized experience, personalized communication to the customers, but also in terms of driving efficiencies in the business in the area of risk management and underwriting. So those are some of the important areas where we feel that AI can play a big role as well as we go forward.
A mature market is always something that looks at a value proposition more than that of just the price value. How is the insurance industry viewing this? Okay, is there any effort from the industry's part to see how it can position itself as a value proposition rather than just the cost which the customer wants? Of course, cost combined with how fast you can deliver the claims, and also what percentages of claims are there. These are some of the parameters. But how do you look at it? Is there any movement into becoming a more value oriented organization than just being a price conscious organization for the insurance guy?
Absolutely. See, Babu, is very interesting the way this whole landscape of marketing is changing, and businesses are also changing with times. And the good thing is that today you're not changing because of what is happening in your industry. You have to change because what is also happening outside of your industry. And that, to me, is the point that you were also alluding to, is the whole aspect of customer experience. So customers today are saying, I don't care if you are a insurance company or you're a hotel company or you're a rental company or whatever, you're an e-commerce company. I am used to a certain kind of experience. I'm used to an intuitive, personalized, customized experience, and I'm used to ease of doing anything. And I want to do it on my 6 inches screen, and I want to do it when I want to do it. Right now, that is the customer expectation, now, and that, like I said, travels across the industry, and therefore there is no choice, even for our industry, to accede to that demands of the customer. That brings me to the point of value creation. Of course, customers have always been very value conscious. Customers want more for the buck that they give you, and this is therefore not surprising that we therefore, asking this question to ourselves when we look at developing our products. Uh, to me, it is something which we have seen in the last couple of years. Insurers have been taking keen interest. Of course, we operate in very highly regulated structures, right? So it's not as easy for us to sort of come up with propositions or come up with services to attach to products as it could be for some of the other which is industry which are not so highly regulated. So we have to follow a certain structure and we have to follow certain diktat around that. Within the realm of the boundaries that have been defined, I still feel there is enough and more that can happen. Pricing for certain kind of products will continue to play an important role, Babu, because if the product is commoditized, if it is a term insurance product, by and large, everything being the same, pricing will play a certain role. But when customers today buy insurance, they just don't look at pricing. It plays a big role, but they look at the entire experience of, how the process is, how simplified buying, how easy it is for customers to reach you, how easy for customers to get a query resolved, and how do you connect with the customer with information that you already have about the customer. So I think all of those things sort of make value for the customer. So ultimately, you're buying a risk cover, but how you buy the risk cover, how it gets delivered to you, and how you service it becomes very important, and that's a part of the value packaging. The other aspect of it, which is, let's say I move away from a commodity product like a term insurance or let's say simple health insurance. The other aspect is how can you add value added services to what you are offering to our customers, because customers today have various needs, and there are the products and there are services surrounding it, and there are services being provided by people out there in the ecosystem. It's a big opportunity for insurers to tie up with service providers and bundle it with our products. It's something that we are trying to do in our organization, is to say that, okay, this is a product, but how do you go out and solve it for the customer? Because customers don't want risk management, they want prevention. They don't want the event to happen and then they have to get the product activated. They would ideally want us to help them avoid that event, right? So therefore, the wellness services, therefore, how can I offer prevention services to customer? And if something happens, how can I offer assistance becomes very important, apart from settling the claim. So those are the pieces that we are looking at, and those are the pieces which increasingly will become a very important aspect of the overall offering from an insurance industry standpoint.
Any new innovations you have done in this area which you would like to share?
Yeah, not specifically what you mentioned, Babu, is something that we've seen in the health insurance space.
Yes.
Tying up with companies which offer these devices, wearable devices, and you can track the whole aspect of uh, offering a discount on pricing. That if you stay healthy, I've, at least in my own judgment, I've not seen something that has really led into increase in volumes. But in a way that it's the right thing to do from an insurance perspective, right? Because you are in the business of risk prevention, risk management. Therefore, these services are a logical extension to what you do. What we are trying to do, at least, is trying to, the whole aspect that we work on is your health is your most important wealth. So how is it that I can partake in making sure that you remain healthy? And that can happen either through an ecosystem of services that I can have access to, and therefore I can access to my customers in terms of wellness, in terms of offering them discounts, in terms of offering them opportunities to access some of those services which customers can use and then benefit, or I can give content to the customer which will be useful for the customer uh, to sort of build their health portfolio and how to manage their health and their family's health better. So our drive has always been to say that go beyond the product. Look at, not everything can be done by insurance companies. So we have sort of set up a microservices ecosystem. We reach out to companies who are doing fascinating work in the area of technology. So how can we partner with them and get them to go to those customers, because they are in complementing businesses, right? They're not competing with us, but it can overall add value to the customers. Other aspect that we're doing is bundling of our products in a very innovative way, because you don't buy a product, you want to buy a solution to your need.
What are the new enrollment strategies that are required according to you as a marketeer to engage with newer and newer customers and the underpenetrated sector? And it is not just the rural areas, even the urban areas have got lot of uninsured. What
Yes.
should work for making this possible according to you?
When we look at India, despite 2 decades of insurance opening up, we still remain underpenetrated, is because there is a large amount of complexity. At the same time, we are a growing country, right? Large number of millennials, working population still to come in, and so on and so forth. So, so from a penetration standpoint, just to address that first part of your question, Babu, I think there is growth, and this will continue to be the case, for the industry going forward. The challenge in terms of penetrating into the deeper segments of the country lies in the distribution. Because it's complex, the cost of distribution to reach out to masses is massive. And I think most of the insurers still haven't cracked that code fully because of the diversity and complexity and vastness of the country, right? I think that's where government plays a very important role. Thanks to the initiatives like PMJJBY, Ayushman Bharat, these are all initiatives which sort of spread the message. So large part of educating customer, making them aware. If we are there also, right, that part is taken care of, and that is helping the insurance industries expand the footprint as well. The other aspect is regulator has allowed us open architecture. So banks are open to multiple types. New distribution models are being mooted by the regulator. That would really help augment insurance sales in deeper parts of the country. So giving us access to that market through unique distribution channels. Third, I think technology will play a great role, Babu, to my mind, because there is no rural and urban India now. When you have phone, You have services which are available to both countries, in that sense, rural country and urban country. You just have to figure out now as to how fast and how well in the context can you operate, because the context could be different, but technology is the same. So that would, to my mind, would be a game changer. Somebody actually being able to crack that code using technology to reach out to the last mile, the deepest corner of the country, which I think will be very crucial for country to see the kind of penetration that we're talking about. Everybody else, from the bank's perspective, our normal distribution footprints, there is growth and there is expansion that we are seeing. Lastly, the regulators recently came up with product guidelines to make insurance very standardized. So Saral Jeevan Bima Plan, for example, it's a term insurance, same features, same benefits, very simple to understand. So they made it a complete commodity. All you can do is have a pricing based on your risk assessment, and your reality, and what kind of pricing you can negotiate with the reinsurers. But for a customer standpoint, the product is the same. You buy it from A company or a Z company, it doesn't matter, and that's made for the masses. So that also really helps, because this whole thing of consumers not able to understand insurance so easily gets taken care of. So I guess a bunch of things which are happening, a very exciting stuff which is happening, and it's all happening in cohesion with the industry, with regulator, and with even with the government working together. It's just a matter of time that we will see penetrations increasing significantly in the country.
What technology can get you into the skin of the customer so that you can understand?
Absolutely. And I think AI has a role to play. We talk about AI, Babu. I think AI for marketers will always remain a notch above AI. So emotional intelligence before artificial intelligence is what I will always say. If you understand your customers, then you have the tools. You may not have all the tools, but you will have enough tools for you to get into the skin of the customers rightly.
Absolutely. Agree with you. And that is the absolute way ahead for this. As a marketeer, what do you think is your, what you call as advice to the marketeers in the insurance sector, in the financial services sector? How do they cope up with the kind of changes that have been happening recently, as well as, take up the trends that would follow?
Yeah. So I wouldn't call it advice. It's it's my recommendation, Babu, honestly. Uh, so my recommendation would always be, first and foremost, um, marketers have to play the role of customers in the room. Every company says that customer is the center of what we do, but marketers need to question that. We need to challenge that in the organization, and they have to believe whether the company is actually doing what they're saying. So, is there customer in the room? If there's no customer in the room, then the marketer has to become the customer in the room. You don't do that. Anything else that you try to do could be, just a transactional thing that you would do, but that doesn't build bonds with the customer. As I just mentioned, is marketeers have to put on the hat of uh, CTO. They have to become some ways technology officers. I'm not saying they need to be chief technology officer, but they have to be, CTO has to be your best friend, and you have to at some level talk a similar language. So the CTOs have to understand what consumers want and how consumers behave, and the CMO has to understand how technology can enable that. Otherwise, you would be talking different languages to each other. So a lot of marketers have seen they shy away from the conversation of technology, but I don't think that's a good idea. So very important we understand the technology and how technology operates. Third is aspect of around data, extremely important, because we're talking about all these technologies. We're talking about personalization, and in insurance companies, there's so much data we generate, and we seldom make use of all of that data, right? Because it's difficult to get insights over all the data. So unless you're very comfortable with it, you won't be able to make sharp decisions. And you have to make decisions today in the moment. You can't have a 5-year campaign, or not even, you can't even have a 2-year, 3-year campaign. You can have a 3-year direction. But I think the campaigns have to operate in the context. You have to be on the fly to figure out what is the pulse of the market, and try to sort of make sure that you're out there in the right way, talking to your customers at the right place. So I think these are the few things. Lastly, I would say very important for marketer to know that there is a business. Anything that we do, you can get swayed by the romance of technology, but very important to understand what will it do for the business. So this whole aspect of ROI is very important, because otherwise you can get swayed by so much that you can possibly do. So very important to know what are the priorities for the business and how what we do is going to actually make an impact to the business. So these are three, four things that I think are very important for all marketeers to sort of.
Very, very well encapsulated, Rakesh. And I think they are absolutely up to the context when it comes to, the needs of a modern marketer. Because, like you rightly pointed out, no marketer is technology free. Technology is an inbuilt and an integrated part of your marketing, and that direct integration between technologist and the marketer is here to stay and will only prosper in the years to come. Fantastic. Thank you very much for an insightful conversation, Rakesh. We will get into more and more such kind of context now in specific areas of marketing in the future conversations which we will have. And for now, I would like to thank you on behalf of Banking Frontiers, our viewers, and look forward to more interesting conversations with you.
Thank you so much, Babu, and thank you to the Banking Frontiers team